Let's keep the conversation going with some Knickerbocker banter as we welcome in the Dean of Knicks Film School, Jonathan Macri. Jonathan, so great to see you as always. So Shumpert says he would not go all in to bring in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Hypothetically, though, if the Bucks do decide to trade him, would you be willing to part with a lot of these current Knicks based on the way the season has gone so far?
Well, you know, Iman Shumpert, once a Knick, always a Knick. He is a wise man. Look, talent gets you in the championship conversation, but ultimately chemistry is what makes the difference in May and June. I think if you look at the way this Knicks team is playing right now, you saw they were without half of their rotation tonight in Indiana. They still pulled out a win. There is something special brewing here. And look, if the Bucks make him available, might you put in a phone call to Milwaukee? Sure, just to check in. But whereas a couple weeks ago you might have said the Knicks should go hard after a guy like Antetokounmpo, I would be very careful to upset the apple cart with as well as they are playing right now and as much camaraderie as they are playing in with buying into what Mike Brown is selling.
Yeah, and as much chemistry as well. Also on the putback, Shumpert said the Knicks have the best chance to dethrone the Oklahoma City Thunder. They didn't have to see the Thunder in the Cup, but based on what you've seen, how do you think the Knicks match up against the defending champs?
It's tough because the Thunder, I mean, relatively speaking, might have the best defense in modern NBA history. So the question becomes, how do you dethrone a great defense like that? Do you try to defend as well as they do, or do you try to combat a great defense with great offense? I think the Knicks are choosing the latter, and I think with how they are scoring the basketball right now, that is probably the wiser play. The only team that I might put ahead of New York is the only team that has a better offensive rating in the NBA right now, and that's the Denver Nuggets with the guy who's won 3 out of the last 4 MVP awards. But I think for as great as Denver is and for as great as Nikola Jokic is, the Knicks should be considered right there with Denver as the best bet to dethrone OKC.
Hard to beat both of those teams at home. The Thunder and the Knicks both with 13 wins, tied for most in the league. Back to Thursday night, though. Jalen Brunson with a go-ahead 3 with just 4 seconds left. Tyler Kolek, 16 points in 26 impressive minutes. What stood out to you most, Brunson's heroics or Kolek's play?
Well, no disrespect to the captain, but we've seen this before. He's hit a lot of game-winning shots in his time in New York, so I am going with Tyler Kolek. His emergence as a legitimate backup point guard for this team, a team that has been rumored to be looking at the backup point guard market for the last few months, maybe that changes some dynamics ahead of the trade deadline. If he could come in and not only stabilize the team during the non-Brunson minutes, but as we saw tonight and as we've been seeing recently, play alongside Brunson and help make life easier for his star point guard.